Are you ready for today's story? Let's go!
My bedtime stories.
Read with me as we make the world more magical, one story at a time. The Clumsy Elf, written by Melissa Spencer, illustrated by Anila Malik. Trip was a kind elf who always made everyone laugh in Santa's village. Sadly, they all laughed at him because he was so clumsy. Whenever anything went wrong in Santa's workshop, he was always in the middle of the muddle. One day, Santa asked Trip to help decorate the Christmas tree. "Maybe you will be a bit more, a little less," said Santa. But Trip got all the tinsel in a tangle. Instead, Trip helped look after the reindeer. As he climbed on Prancer's back to brush him, a fly landed on Trip's hand. "Hello, fly," laughed Trip. Prancer only heard the word fly. They shot up in the air, leaving a twinkling trail. In a panic, Trip called, "Dancer, down!" Onwards they flew higher and higher. "Plaster, down!" he shouted. They flew faster and faster. "Disaster!" he yelled. When exhausted Prancer finally flew back to the stables, Santa was waiting. "Trip, don't worry," said Santa. "Just be ready to leave in the morning." "Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I'm such a clumsy elf. I can't do anything right. All I want is to make Santa proud, and now he's sending me away." The next morning, Santa gave Trip a letter addressed to Tim. With a wink, Santa sprinkled some magic dust and Trip landed on a doorstep. A woman opened the door. Trip froze. "Tim," she called, "there's a surprise for you." Tim ran to the door and squealed, "An elf!" He rushed Trip inside, tore open the envelope, and read out loud, "My dearest Tim, you have been selected to have Trip the elf stay with you until Christmas Eve. Santa." Tim whooped and whooshed Trip up onto the mantelpiece. Trip sat very still all day. Later, when Tim and his family had gone to bed, he tiptoed to the kitchen to find something to eat. He spied a box of cereal on the countertop. He just needed to find a way to reach it. Trip found some tins and carefully built a tower. Then he climbed. He jumped and landed head first in the box. Trip was stuck. Whoops! Trip fell. Crunch! "Oh no, I'm going to be in big trouble," worried Trip. But when Tim came down for breakfast, he howled with laughter. "Mom, look at Trip!" "My goodness," said Mom. "What a funny elf!" "Huh? Not clumsy?" Trip was baffled. That night, when all was quiet, Trip explored the house. In the bathroom, he spotted some toys and wanted a closer look. "Oh no, I messed up again," sighed Trip. But the next morning, Tim roared with laughter. "Mom, look at Trip!" "My goodness," said Mom. "What a cheeky elf!" "Cheeky?" Trip puzzled. That night, Trip remembered it was movie night back home in the North Pole. Popcorn! His tummy rumbled. Trip found the popcorn kernels and put the whole bag in the microwave. Yummy, thought Trip, opening the door. Popcorn exploded into the kitchen. Trip was swept away in the tumbling avalanche and buried in the salty heap. Whoops! Oh no! Tim's bound to be cross this time, feared Trip. But the next morning, Tim bellowed with laughter. My goodness, said Mom. Trip's bonkers. I love him, giggled Tim. Trip felt overjoyed. Night after night, Trip got caught up in one mishap after another. Each morning, Tim burst out laughing and even Mom couldn't help but enjoy their messy guest visit. Trip began to relax and have fun. On Christmas Eve, Tim laid out a mince pie for Santa and a carrot for Rudolph. He gave Trip the biggest hug goodbye and whispered, Thank you, Trip. This has been the best Christmas ever. I hope you visit again next year. When Santa arrived to deliver presents, Trip hopped in the sleigh. Santa! Santa! I'm not just a clumsy elf. I'm funny and cheeky and bonkers. And Tim loves me. Santa nodded proudly and Trip grinned from one pointy ear to the other.
Thank you so much for staying and reading with me until the end. Please give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed this and share it with your friends so we can all read along together. See you on our next one. Bye!